Last summer, our family stayed at a public campground in Glacier National Park. Dad, my brother Bob, and I decided to pack into the high mountain country. I was in charge of the sleeping bags, which were lightweight and warm. Bob thought the fishing gear was the most important. Mother and Dad had planned the food ahead of time. They chose lightweight dehydrated things like powdered milk and eggs, dried fruit, and vegetables. A national park ranger visited our campgrounds each day as part of his regular duties. We told him about our plans and showed him our marked trail map. This way, he'd be able to help us in case of an emergency. His work includes protection of plant and animal life, fire and safety patrol, and park cleanliness. He asked to see our fire permit, which is required for camping. He checked to see if we had the proper equipment: compass, hatchet, flashlight, and first aid kit. Friendly and helpful, the National Park Rangers are responsible for the safety of park visitors. After a good night's sleep, we were ready to hit the trail. Sturdy boots, comfortable clothes, and a well-balanced pack make for good hiking. Bob spotted the fire lookout station. During the summer months, rangers are on duty day and night and can radio park headquarters in case of fire. Higher on the trail, we saw burned logs from an old forest fire. After more than 20 years, the new trees had only grown about 10 feet. Marmots. The whistling marmots ignored us and went on with their little game. This Alpine Valley was formed thousands of years ago. It was carved by a moving glacier of ice and snow. Rest periods gave us a chance to enjoy the scenery. Bob was interested in the stream which came from the melting snowbanks. Water this high in the mountains is safe for drinking. My camera really got a workout in this country. Rocks tell stories of millions of years ago. Along the trail, Dad pointed out one called a fossil algae rock. Long ago, seawater algae hardened in the rock, and it tells geologists that this whole area was once under the ocean. While hiking, We stayed together on the marked trails. Shortcuts and detours can be dangerous in strange country. A double check with our map agreed with the trail sign. Bob's compass told us we were going in the right direction. As we climbed higher, we saw fewer trees and smaller shrubs. Everything is covered with snow during the long winters. Short summers and less oxygen at this altitude make plant life grow more slowly. We walked along a ridge of rocks called a moraine. A moraine is made of rocks and boulders left behind by melting glaciers moving down the mountain. We were surprised to see a wild goat at this level. The Rocky Mountain goat usually stays at the very top of the jagged peaks. Sure-footed and full of pep, he put on a fine show. The end of our trail, a mountain lake. No people, no roads, no houses, just undisturbed wilderness. We were tired and short of breath as we started on the downhill trail. We looked forward to making camp and eating a good meal. We chose a clearing that was protected from the wind and was safe for our campfire. While Dad and I started the fire pit, Bob went off to gather wood. Near the beargrass flowers, Bob saw something move. It was a ptarmigan. Until it moved, it was invisible because of its protective coloring. Our lightweight tent was a safety precaution against sudden winds and storms that blow up in the high mountains. Making camp didn't take long, with everyone pitching in. Early the next morning, we tried our luck at the lake. Bob got the first strike. He was so excited he yelled for help. While I offered advice, he reeled in a good-sized cutthroat trout. We were surprised to find we had company. The man told us he was a fish biologist, getting information on the trout in this lake. After netting the fish, he measured it and wrote down the length, 18 inches. Most of the time, he works out of doors. This sounded like a good deal, and we asked him more about it. He said that he went to college to learn his job, which is called the science of fish management. He learned to check the fish food in the lake and the chemicals in the water. We decided it's a fine job for anyone who likes the out of doors. The hand scales were hooked through the gill without injuring the fish. This cutthroat weighed 2 1/4 pounds. He carefully scraped a few scales without hurting the fish and put them in an envelope. When the scientist looks at the scales under a microscope, he can tell the life and growth patterns of the fish. All this information is used to give us more and better game fish. The cold water revived the fish, and he swam off none the worse for the few minutes on shore. Nothing tastes as good as trout cooked over an open fire. Bob decided fried trout and mountain scenery go together. After dinner music is my specialty, and it always sounds better around a campfire. Time to break camp, and I drew cleanup duty. Everything that wouldn't burn was put in the trash pit, tramped down, and covered with dirt. The same clump of grass we took out when we dug the pit was put back. We put out the fire according to park rules. Hot stones were rolled out of the way. Water was poured over the burning coals, and cold gravel was scraped into the fire pit. To make sure no hot coals were left, Dad checked with his hand. Our campsite was left as we found it. All signs of our stay were cleared away. A good sportsman always leaves a clean camp for the next fellow. On the way out, nobody talked much. I guess we had plenty to think about and remember. Our quiet lake, the rugged mountains, our adventure in the wilderness.